Hello everyone, this is Miss Roberts with our first at-home math lesson. Our learning goal for today is to learn how to find the areas of different shapes. More specifically, we'll learn how to use the area of rectangles and triangles, how to find more complicated shapes. Please take out a piece of paper and a pen or pencil, and you can follow along with me. So just like in class, we're starting off with a warm-up. The warm-up is to find the area of these different shapes. So you can copy them down onto a piece of paper and use what you know about areas to find these shapes. Please pause the video so you can do that on your own first. Alright, so at this point you should have already taken some time to try doing these problems on your own, and now we're going to have a chance to do it together. So looking at the first one, we have a height of 5 and a width of 3. So on this one, it would be 5 times 3 to find the area. On the next one, it's a little bit more complicated with the numbers. We have 3.5 and 4. So again, we're going to multiply 3.5 times 4. There's a few different ways that we can do this. You can actually change this into an improper fraction. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And then I make 4 into 4 over 1. So that's 7 times 4 is 28. 2 times 1. So then we have 28 over 2. And we can remember that every fraction is really just a division problem. So that's 28 divided by 2, which would be 14. The last one is a more complicated shape. So when I see shapes that are not just a simple rectangle, I think about how I can divide it up into 2 different shapes. There's a few ways we can divide this up. The way I'm going to show is imagining if there was an extra line right here. So now we have 2 rectangles. We have one rectangle, this one we can already see, is 3 by 2. And then on this one, we don't know what this length is, but we can figure it out. So if this whole entire thing is 7, and we know this part is 3, then I can think, okay, 3 plus what gives me 7? So I know that this part has to be 4. So again, 4, this length, plus this length, 3, has to equal to the total length of the bottom, 7. So now I know this rectangle is 4 across and 6 down. So my last step to find the total area is to add those 2 together. Alright, go ahead and double check your warm-up, and then we'll move on to the main lesson. So right now we're looking at the area of triangles. So to find the area of a triangle, the easiest way to visualize it is by using what we just learned about rectangles. So I'm going to actually imagine this as being a rectangle. And if this was a full rectangle, I know I would find the area by doing the height times the width. So this whole thing is 6. If I look at the shaded part, I can see that it is half of the rectangle. So I can do 6 divided by 2, and I see that that means that each half would be 3, so my rectangle area is 3. Moving on to the next part, you are going to take a chance to write these down and then practice doing what we learned with finding the area of triangles. Again, please pause the video and then try this on your own before you look at how we do it together. Thank you for pausing the video. We're now going to go over these problems together. So our first step is to make it into a rectangle. and we multiply width times height. And then the triangle is just half of that, so I divide by 2. And that's my area of the triangle. The next one, again, I do width times height to get the full area of the rectangle. The triangle is just half of that area. So I do 20 divided by 2, and my area is 10. The next one, rectangle, that's 6 by 4. The triangle is just half of that area. And that's the area of the triangle. The last one, I have a rectangle that I can imagine that's 8 by 2. The triangle is half of that. So that's the area of my triangle. Again, you can go back and double check your work. And then we'll move on. So the really cool thing about this is that you can actually use the areas that we have learned about to figure out the areas of new shapes. And shapes that are a little bit like weirder looking, so not as easy just to tell at the very start. I really like these problems because I think of them as being like puzzles. So try drawing these in your notebook. And these are more of a challenge, so take a moment to see what you would do as your first steps if you were trying to figure these out. All right, I hope that you had a moment to draw in some ideas of what you would do. So kind of like on our warm-up, we're going to think about how we can divide this one up into pieces. So I would divide it here and here. So now I have rectangles that I know how to find the area for. This one is 5 by 2. And this one we have 5 here, and this little segment is 2 tall. This part is 3 tall, so now I can do 3 times 2. Oh, and I should write in how I got that first part. So 3 times 2 gives us 6 for this middle section. This other one is the same as the first one. So now we can add all of those pieces together. So the total area, of the whole entire thing would be 26. I apologize. I did not make it super clear that I was counting the lines for this, and I could have done a better job of labeling that. So I apologize if that threw you off when you were trying it on your own. Let's try the next one. So this one we're going to have to use both what we learned about with triangles and rectangles to figure it out. So when I see this shape, I see a shape that is a rectangle and 2 triangles. And so this part here is 6, and it tells me the height is 4. So I know my rectangle is 6 by 4. I feel like that's the easiest part to figure out first. And now I just have these little triangles on the side. So, okay, if this part is 6, and I know the whole thing is 10, then I know basically I'm going to think, okay, 6 plus what gives me 10? And I know that I need 4 more, so that means I'm going to need 2 on each side. So now I have 2 triangles, and each one is 2 by 4. So each of my triangles, I'm going to redraw it so it's a little bit easier to see, is 2 by 4. So I know I can do 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 divided by 2 equals 4. So each of my triangles has an area of 4. Another kind of fancy way that you could have done it if you want to is think about cutting this one off and flipping it onto this side and having one big rectangle. So if you decided to do it that way, that's kind of a shortcut, so that's awesome. You should get the same answer. So now we have each piece and we can add together the areas. 4 plus 24 plus another 4. So I know I have 4 plus 4 is 8. So 24 plus 8. All right, so our total area is 32. Thank you for watching. Please remember to be going on Freckle and getting some extra Freckle minutes. If you want more practice problems like this, you can click on the geometry section. We'll be back again tomorrow with another video. We miss you. We hope that you're staying healthy. We still hope that you're staying happy. Please reach out if you have any questions through email. My email is roberdsa@sfusd.edu. All right, bye everyone. We'll see you soon.